Steve and Ryan. I'm co-founder and CCO of PolyUnity Incorporated. We are a med tech business based out of Newfoundland and Labrador that are focused on basically digitizing the healthcare procurement process. So we partnered with healthcare providers and entities to solve problems, come up with new product ideas, and ultimately we take all of these designs, we immortalize them into a catalog that is basically in the future will become a subscription thing. And the idea is that we change the way hospital procurement happens, and that instead of getting things from Japan or China or anywhere for that matter where things are manufactured, you can have access to the parts yourself and manufacture them on site.
What do you enjoy most about being an entrepreneur?
So, I have no formal business training. I went through basically the sciences at Memorial University and then went into medicine. But even in medicine, my mind was always running around engineering applications, 3D printing. And then over time, myself and my two co-founders, Michael Bartelis and Travis Pickett, we just decided to try our hands at entrepreneurship. So we incorporated the business in 2018. Again, we had no idea what we were getting into. But over time, we snowballed the effort, gathered some skilled people, and had some really good mentors along the way. And a few years later, here we are in Pippy Place with a full staff and a proper vision and a path forward in terms of our business. Yeah. So what I enjoy about it is basically it's a completely different world than what I did with academics, but I just enjoy having the power over it in terms of who you hire, the direction that it goes. You have a significant impact in your local economy, providing job opportunities to engineering work-term students, eventually hiring the same engineering work-term students. There's nice continuity there. And that's super rewarding in a province that does have its struggles sometimes with various sectors of employment. We always tend to find one that is really successful for short bursts, and then we have trouble maintaining it. And that's the case with any kind of unrenewable resource. But I think there's a very interesting push into the tech world right now, which is untethered to resource, so you can provide job opportunities to people, and it is sustainable. And as long as the companies persist and thrive, then so does the employment. So I think that's a pretty neat opportunity for us to do some good here.
Did you have a mentor?
Mentorship in this sector has been, it's tricky because when we came up with this idea, it was kind of science fiction. So getting somebody to grapple with us or latch onto the idea and really commit to it was challenging because it was kind of a foreign concept, right? When we initially started pitching this, the whole idea is that you could teleport medical equipment, right? It's you have a design part, and in theory, you could email it to Port of Basque or rural Labrador, and as long as they had a 3D printer there, they could manufacture it, and then you don't need transport trucks and helicopters and delays and weather gets in the way, all this stuff. And when you say that, people are like, I don't know about that, right? It's that seems 100 years in the future. We were pretty confident that was 5 years in the future, so we stuck with it. But that was the good first set of critical feedback that we got and how to present the idea. So we really learned how to be more approachable. And now, since the pandemic, the tone has changed dramatically because we were able to kind of prove this concept with the face shield production. When the pandemic struck, there was a global shortage of PPE, and when the province was looking for parties to help alleviate the situation, so make shields, gowns, masks, and stuff like that, we kind of threw our hat in the ring to tackle the shield thing, and everyone was like, do you have any experience in this? And we were like, no, but we think we can do it, right? And anyway, we gathered resources and people and supplies and ended up using a farm of 3D printers to make upwards of 2,000 shields a day after 3 weeks of testing. So it was a pretty quick turnover time when really the process to design and manufacture face shields with traditional means would be months and months and months. We did it in a couple of weeks. And then like the tone started to shift around what we do. People were like, okay, maybe 3D printers aren't just toys for printing Pikachus, you know, like, yeah. So that was kind of a pivotal point. And now that's a long way of saying mentorship has become more prominent, and we have a couple individuals in the business community locally who have like really attached themselves to this idea, and important for us too. And like I said, like without a strong business background, moving through the next big steps of scaling and funding and sales and marketing and these big things that are necessary for a company to survive. Now we're getting the people coming to the table who are saying, okay, so like this is the next step. This is the next step, and I think that's going to be why we do well in the next couple of years. I personally like cultural fits, and I like people that are interested in what you do and want to work hard to build a company that's new, right? Startup world is a little bit different than your big corporate world. The demands are a little bit different. Schedules can be a little bit erratic. Funding is, funding, so there are some ups and downs when it comes to that stuff. So really it's somebody who is passionate about the project and the idea, is willing to roll with the punches of startup, and has a good attitude towards the province, right, primarily, and what we're trying to do, because I do think overall it's to benefit the province. But like in terms of like actual skill sets, like we have, I think, are in one of the top groups of companies that employ work-term students. And the reason being is, first of all, there's a shortage of work-term opportunities. We have a shortage of like major funding. So we can use leverages between MUN and ourselves and local business funding groups to make enough of payment for work-term students. But the really cool thing about that is they've been coming back. So once they've come back for 2 or 3 times, and they've learned exactly what we're doing and how we do it, then once they graduate, it's just a great opportunity for us to retain somebody that knows what we're doing and them to find meaningful employment in their province. So I think that's the neatest part of that, right?